Welcome to episode 339 of In Touch with iOS, the show that talks about iPhone, iPad, Apple Watch, Apple TV, Vision Pro, and related technologies. I'm your host, Dave Ginsburg, and we have a repeat performance from last week's show, and Patrice Brend'Amour is here. How you doing, Patrice?
I'm doing well. I'm just my internet is unstable. It is. I just rushed in from like a day of shopping. I bought, of course, a bunch of clothes.
Nice,
because that's what you do. No, it's been a good day.
good, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And Jeff Gamet is here. How you
I
doing,
hope you
Jeff?
had a good time.
I did.
I did. You know, Dave, he is the wildest party animal out of all of us. I mean, I've been at conferences with him, and out of control. Dave, I'm doing well, and I'm happy to get to start off my year with all of you.
Yes, me too. Marty Jencius is also here. Happy New Year.
It's I'm still on break from the university, which means I get to run my own schedule. I get to cook when I want to cook, and so all of that'll happen this weekend for me too.
All right, and glad you're here. Also glad I'm here. Here is Chuck Joyner. How you doing, Chuck?
I'm doing great, David. Happy New Year to everybody. And I want to just back up what Jeff said about your party proclivities at conferences.
Yes,
I'm
the partier.
I still have a hole in my bank account from the bail. Yeah,
that's right. Oh my gosh! And last but certainly not least, Ben Roethig. So glad you're here. How you doing?
I had a wild New Year's for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Ben's my hero.
And
I'm not here. I'm your hero for having my vehicle breakdown.
Oh, see, I was picturing something like one of the Bachelor movies, all compressed down into one night, and just like that kind of adventure, which is you have an amazing time for all the wrong reasons.
Oh, that was before my vehicle broke at 4:30 on New Year's Eve. That was the plan.
I know.
Yeah. Well, all right. Let's get started here. And again, Happy New Year to everybody. It's 2025 and our first show of the new year. And we're going to talk all the usual stuff. Vision Pro, a bit of an experience at the Apple Store with me. I wanted to share some experiences as well as some more deals, but it worked out for the best. And the news and what we think are going to happen this year for Apple in 2025 and other things. So, but let's start off as we have been is the Vision Pro. And first story here is, like Apple is doomed. The Apple Vision Pro is doomed and may be out of production. Oh no. The first generation Vision Pro has now ceased production as far as some reports reducing the demand and the production of the cuts this year. It was reported that they abruptly reduced production of the Vision Pro headset ahead of potential plans of making the current version of the device completely by the end of 2024. But now we're at the new year, and it may not be in active production. So again, a lot of this is rumors. We don't know where this is going to go. Apple. Tim Cook did describe the device as an early adopter product, targeting users interested in cutting edge technology rather than the broad mass market. Do we believe all this, Marty?
Yeah, this is a lot of clickbait, and based on look at other articles, look at other progress that they've made with VR, AR, and Vision Pro, and you have some other articles we'll be talking about, and it just seems weird that I think. Citing multiple people directly involved, however, not really citing multiple people directly involved.
Yeah.
I
blame him.
That they're going to give up on the headset, but, they might do another version with an M5 chip in it this year. And it's sort of like, if that's the only upgrade, there's going to be a lot of original owners that are going to be upset that they put an M5 chip in it and now they're working with, quote, a slower device. At the same time, they're talking about Vision OS 3.0 having Apple Intelligence capabilities. So
Right.
who knows? But I don't buy it. I think Apple's into this for the long game. They're never the first out with the stuff to kind of show off. They take it slow and they're very deliberate. And they're building their ecosystem differently than any of the other headset providers. So, yeah.
Yep.
They like to knock this article out every couple of months, basically, and say it's not selling as much. We can't tell you how we know because we don't know how we know, but it's not selling as much. It's doomed. And so this is this
Apple's
is an end of the
doomed,
year doom article.
We need
Anything to add,
t-shirts.
Chuck?
Apple. Doomed since 1974.
I want that shirt.
I want that shirt. Yeah. Go ahead, Chuck.
Yeah, Dave, I'm almost to the point now that if the 90% of the articles that say Vision Pro, I ignore on the title because there's just until something is actually announced, this is all it's clickbait, prognostication, doomsaying, all rolled into one. And just because this wasn't a runaway hit 10 minutes after they released it does not mean it's a dead product. And so maybe the production did stop. Maybe they are retooling for the next version, M5 or not. So, there are a lot of reasons that if you take as a correct statement that production has stopped, okay, fine. They stopped production on other things before because there were new versions coming out. Mm-hmm. So I'm sort of turning off my Vision Pro, not because I'm not interested and not because I don't believe in it. I'm just not bothering to give attention to some of these articles, no matter who publishes them.
You could have stopped that production because every year we get that same story. It's usually about the iPhone. Oh, iPhone is not selling because they scaled down production. No facts whatsoever. Never gets confirmed. Like Apple keeps posting record sales numbers after record sales numbers, but every year we get the same story. This time they switched out iPhone for Vision Pro, posted the same thing. I don't believe it.
Yeah, I agree. Anything else you want to add, Jeff or Ben?
Yeah. Let's just say this is true. It still doesn't matter. This is a low volume or relatively low volume early adopter product.
Mm-hmm.
Apple knows how many it needs to have in inventory. It might have reached that level. It's cheaper to produce them at full production than it is in low production. So Apple probably could have all the Vision Pros that it needs until the next version. And it just didn't make any sense keeping them in production. Just because they're not making the hardware right now doesn't mean they're giving up on the platform.
Right.
Logistics and platform support are two different things.
This is true.
Yeah.
What about you, Jeff?
I think everyone has been incredibly intelligent and eloquent this morning. So I'm feeling very nervous right now about my ability to keep up. Doomed.
Doomed.
So, okay, here's my take on this. And this is something that I said many, many times back when I was the managing editor at Mac Observer. So I was saying it as an insider. The blogger and journalist world has a shockingly short memory span. And like I remember seeing articles where everyone suddenly had the same article the same day about something. And I'm looking at these headlines and I'm reading the articles trying to figure out what's new. It's the same thing that was covered 3 or 4 months ago, but someone did it as if it was new and everyone else is like, holy crap, we got to cover it. Forgetting that it's something we had all covered just a few months ago. This applies here too, even though it's more than a few months. all of these places that are writing about this need to put on their memory caps and look back at iPad, Apple Watch, iPhone, iPod, and I can keep going if you want, but I think that's enough to get the point across. We have seen this same thing with the media over and over, and what we really need is an article calling out why these articles about Vision Pro being a failure are I don't want to say wrong, because we don't know if it's a failure yet. It hasn't been in the market long enough. But why these articles are misleading or inappropriate.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it has outlived Zoom already, right? So.
Oh yeah, it's outlived Zoom.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did. It did.
Yeah, maybe the Guardians of Galaxy should get one.
Right, that'd be a nice upgrade. No, I've made jokes before about products that fail quickly and measuring their lifespan in kins, because the kin was on the market for 2 weeks, I think.
Totally.
And and we have exceeded the kin lifespan with Vision Pro far enough that if we want to start using exponents for it, that's okay.
Yeah. I mean,
well, to spin it back here, to next news is 9to5Mac has declared the Vision Pro the product of the year for 2024.
But it's doomed.
It's doomed.
It's canceled.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to read through the whole thing. Each of the editors gave their views on the product of the year, why it is, and how it's so. The innovation is amazing. It's probably one of the best TV experiences out there. The Mac virtual display is amazing. So I think most of us here agree that I think this is a good thing that they said that this is a great product.
I looked at the comments from the previous article where it's doomed, and the comment section is filled with a lot of folks saying, well, I told you so. It's going, I would love to go and take a look at 9to5Mac over the year on stuff that they published on Vision Pro, and I do not think it was as optimistic as this article. I think some of these same editors had similar complaints about niche product. It's not going to sell, blah, blah, blah.
But they used it for a while, like we do, like some of us do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's why I'm saying this is, yeah, maybe it is a niche product, but it's entry. We got into the entry level of this, and now we're going to let this thing progress and see where it goes. I think the key is app developers. We got to get more apps out there, and that's where I think the challenge is.
I know that might be unpopular. The Mac is a niche product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as it's the right niche, who cares?
Yeah.
Exactly.
And literally compared to the iPhone, the Mac is unpopular.
Right. Well, yeah.
True. I mean, what isn't unpopular compared to the iPhone?
I'm guessing there are more Macs sold every year than dialysis machines. So niche product, kind of doomed.
True.
Yes.
That's a good comparison.
And I'm hoping I only need one of them in the near future.
Right. See, they're failing with their market because you don't need to buy more than one, and you don't need to replace it for a very long time. Man, that's a market fail right there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking about a product that is not fully baked in either software or hardware. It's this
is like the iPhone. 2007. I mean,
yes.
I mean, developers will come as the platform comes. Let's see how we are in 5 years.
Dave, you did the iPhone comparison. The iPhone was much less baked, if you will, when it launched than Vision Pro.
Yeah,
it took like 3 models of iPhone releases before it could be considered a product that was actually ready to be released to the market.
Yeah. Yeah, and the only reason...
How long until we got copy and paste?
Right?
Yeah. Think about that.
Oh my God.
Wasn't that iOS 4 or
that was
something?
Brutal. Yeah.
Learned 3 or 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
and it
you
was
couldn't
basically
print. Yeah.
and it was basically a glorified feature phone until people started jailbreaking it, and Apple's like, "Ooh, we can make money."
One more thing about Apple, about Vision Pro is, like you mentioned, Marty, Vision Pro upgrades could lead to big success in 2025. As the 95 Mac did say, it's the product of the year. Then now that we talk about some successes of what it's going to add here, Vision OS 3.0 is probably going to where it's going to come across here. But with some more robust gaming support, that's going to be huge. More immersive videos than ever. They got to step that up. But that it takes time with production on that. And I think there's going to be some exciting upgrades and better. And Apple Intelligence is the other thing. That's something that this device needs to do as well. And I think we need to see a lot of those. And that. So we've got some future here with the next version of Vision OS. I think. What you guys think?
Yeah, and that's why the M5 is so important, because the M2 that's in it, it's handling it okay, but I think Marty and maybe even Dave, we've seen some limits where you see, okay, now it's struggling to do like all the things it's supposed to.
Yeah, Dave, I'm going to throw one. Oh, go ahead, Jeff.
All right, super fast. Immersive video that I think would just be super successful. Immersive walkthrough of the silo.
There you go.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
Do stuff like that to tie in to Apple TV Plus. I mean, they've got all the parts. Cool. Do it.
Yeah. Good crossover.
That would be cool.
Yeah. I'm just not getting stuck down in mechanical. No way.
Better than being in the mines.
Yeah.
This is true.
I'll probably get killed, but
go ahead, John.
I just want to add a little perspective here, and then you can go wherever you want, Dave. The one thing we see on every one of these articles is the price is quoted, and the price is blamed for so much of the lack of adoption, or lack of widespread adoption. So, at least according to Google, the original Macintosh computer cost $2,495 when it was released, which is equivalent to about $7,300 today. Okay, so now this product is half that in today's dollars, in very round numbers. And so, and the original Macintosh was, look what it could, or really what it couldn't do. And yet, we went on. So, and how many times was that product declared doomed? This is all just journalistic clickbait.
And I think Chuck just talked himself into getting an Apple Vision Pro with what he just said.
Yeah, nicely done, Chuck.
Well done.
Thank you, Marty. But see, now they've stopped production, so I can't get one. It's
oh no, they were making 1,000. They were making 1,000 a day.
They have
there's
one just
on
for
the
me.
shelf waiting for you. Yeah.
Just for me. Thank you, Marty.
Yeah.
What came out this week were these controllers, these hand controllers that sync up well with Apple Vision Pro. I put the link in our chat. I didn't put it in.
It'll be in our show notes too.
Yeah. The Surreal Touch. And I got them yesterday. And it took me a while because the directions weren't very good at how to set up, or I misread the directions and kept trying to do the same thing over and over again until I figured out there's another way to do it. But I think this is Apple kind of giving a place for third-party hardware developers to create devices that will interact well with Apple Vision and will also open it up for more gamers and game developers to port over games to the Vision Pro so they can be played now with hand controllers. I am not a gamer. Daniel Burkholder on our group is a gamer, and he got a set this week too. So I'm anxious to talk to him about what do you use these things for and how does it work.
How much are they?
$299, I think.
Oof.
Well, that's Apple prices. Come on, it's not an Apple product, but once you're making things for Apple, you know, they're pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, they look about par for other 3D controllers. About what you'd get with the Meta Quest controllers or the PlayStation VR controllers.
You know what, Marty? You made me think about something when you were joking about me buying one. I didn't buy an original Macintosh for the very same reason that I haven't invested in a Vision Pro yet. Looked cool, absolutely. Did I want it? Absolutely. But at that point, I was using the Apple II series, which had software for it, which allowed me to do things that I wanted to do, and I didn't quite get the first Macintosh. And it seems funny to say that now, but I looked at it, I thought it was cool, but no color, and limited software, and so maybe I'm a poster child for exactly why someone will buy a version or two down for the Vision Pro when it's just a little more fully developed.
Yeah, Chuck. But just think how nice it'll be sitting on your shelf 20 years from now, and how you can sell it back on eBay for an enormously crazy price.
Marty, do you get a commission for this? Is that what is going on?
No. I think it'll appreciate more than the stock does, actually. That way.
Yeah. Chuck, I did the same thing as you. The original Mac came out. I did not buy it. And I was actually comparing different Apple computers. At the time, I had a Franklin Ace 1000, so an Apple IIe clone. And I ended up buying an Apple II GS instead because it was the right machine for me, and it was much more versatile. It had a lot more software available for it, and it was in color.
Yep. Right there with you, Jeff.
There you go. All right. One last thing I wanted to mention, and I'm going to talk about my Apple Store experience after in a little bit here, but I didn't know this. Apparently, the demos at the Apple Store, you now can do. They do multiple user demos at the table. So I was in the store, I was watching this, and I said, "Wow, there's 4 people and one employee doing the demo for all 4 people," and he had and showing them the same thing. So I was not aware that the Apple Store was doing that. I thought that was kind of cool.
So,
I want that app.
Yeah. So
I want that app. Yeah. So Apple has something that they're using to emulate all 4, each person had a Vision Pro on, and he was able to do the demo probably from the iPad. That I wasn't at the table, so I didn't look closely. But
they bring out iPads that are dedicated to the demo stuff. So when people show up to do demos, they bring out the headsets, and they also bring out the iPad that runs that process. I was in a store, and I was sitting on the side of the table with a couple of my friends who were doing the demo, and I. When the guy was doing it, I said, "No, I got one." And then I said, "Can I walk around and watch you do what you're doing with the iPad?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." And it was pretty remarkable.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we all, those of us who did demos, it was single person demos before, and now I think that's smart because now you're getting more people to do it all at once, and even if it's people you don't know, you can bring them all into that group.
Yeah, but it's not just single person. It's like there's certain limitations, certain things you can and can't do that they can do with the iPad. Like you can watch content, DRM content with your Vision Pro, and they can still see it on the iPad. They can even like get you in, like open apps or close apps for you, or get you in and out of environments and stuff like that. They have a fair amount of control on those iPads. It's like, and I really need that. I did like 2 demos on New Year's Eve actually. Yeah, it's like I did 2 demos on New Year's Eve, and like it was painful at points because I was like, I basically have to blindly explain to you now what to do because I can't see it anymore. Otherwise, we can't watch the movie. So,
right, yeah. So, I just thought it was interesting that they're doing that. So,
Keynote was an internal product that they eventually released to all of us. Maybe they'll do the same with this.
Yeah,
maybe.
Don't think so. I mean, they have tons of on those iPads. There's tons of internal tools they have for diagnostics and for everything that never get released. So I don't think so. I mean, it would have made a lot of sense to do that, because we're the people doing demos for others. We would have needed it day one, basically. So I think it's too late.
Yeah. Patrice, go ahead.
They could
Jeff.
modify it and release it as a tool for the education market.
They could. Yeah, that's possible. It's true.
Yeah, I mean, I think this will get released at some point, if for no other reason than to assist with training using the Apple Vision Pro.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, I can remember we're talking about Apple here, and Apple loves to control the narrative. They love to control things.
Sure.
So right now, they don't. I mean, I don't think they want you doing a demo for your friends or for your family. They want to do the demo.
Well, if they can. Yeah, well, if they can have a store in Portugal, then we can talk about that.
Well, yeah, but you know, I can just hear someone sitting in a meeting saying, we're Apple, we are going to control this until it's
100%.
ready. Yeah, so
I don't think it goes even. No, I don't think it goes that far. It's an internal tool they developed for themselves for the things they needed. I don't think it might have crossed someone's mind, but probably it didn't. That they could release it, that others could benefit from it. It's simply they needed it, they built it.
I mean, go back to the iPhone. When it first came out, all of us lusted over how can I put that on the screen? How can I plug it in? You couldn't do it.
Yeah,
because Apple had their special cord.
Yeah,
you needed a special dongle. Yeah.
This special dongle to plug it in. But look at now, we have iPhone mirroring on a Mac now. So I mean, it's come a long way.
I mean, they released a dongle eventually as well. But
and look at this
and then third-party software, and then now where we are today.
Yeah, and look at this panel. We're the ones that would really love to have something like this. But how many Apple Vision Pro users would say, boy, I can't wait to do a demo for my friends. Just not.
I submitted feedback, I think day 2 of owning the Vision Pro, because I did a demo of day 2 and I had like a million things that I was like, this doesn't work really. If I'm mirroring and there's DRM content, just don't show it to me, show it to the other person, stuff like that. It's like, it's possible.
Yeah. So, but thought it was interesting. Real quick, beta this week. We're still on iOS 18.3. When do you think it's going to be released? I mean, you look at the trends, what release dates were. Generally, this .3 version in most of last year was released right around January, and what time we are now. So I would anticipate it will be out. There's not a ton of things that are being added other than just minor tweaks and updates to things like they're going to have the robot vacuum support and writing tools and API and Genmojis and all that stuff. So I don't think this release is overly exciting, but I would anticipate to say it probably be out soon. Don't you think, Patrice?
February, earliest February. I have just a gut feeling that they have some stuff, because beginning of January, actually probably either this or next week we'll get some little things, because they always do that. And I have a gut feeling that they will add something to the beta, and then we're only at, I think, beta 1 even. So not in January, probably February or even March.
Yeah, I have a feeling that we'll get a lot closer to what the release will actually be in beta 2. I think we just kind of got just the base code in beta 1.
Yes.
Then they had the holiday shutdown, and I think we'll probably get beta 2 early next week, and that's going to have new features.
Yeah. I mean, holiday shutdown for a company that's global, actually not as much anymore. You see that as like a lot of stuff coming out of Apple, even over Christmas and so on. But you're right. There's stuff missing.
Already when I forgot to add this in the show notes. That 18.2.1 is going to be coming soon. That there's internal testing that's been going on. So there is a version for that out already. So that's going to be doing the minor fixes. So that they always do as a .1 release. So that's supposed to be out.
Security updates.
So we'll probably see that very soon. So nothing else too exciting in the beta world. That's for sure. And then some of these features for iOS is going to be coming in early of 2025. Finally, major S-Lady upgrades, which would be new app actions, personal context knowledge, and on-screen awareness. We've got priority notifications they're going to be adding. New built-in emojis. Can't wait for that. Won't go through that. Sketch style. Jeff, you probably will like this in Image Playground. And that's going to be coming. And then we, of course, talked about robot vacuums and Apple Intelligent Languages. They're going to add multiple different languages as well. So we can anticipate that could be coming out soon for the next version, probably 18.3 or even 18.4 before that comes out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So all right, let's talk about my experience at the Apple Store. I always like the report back experiences here. I had two things that went on. My mother-in-law unfortunately dropped her iPhone. She's an iPhone 15, and I have a picture in the show notes. If any, well, you'll see that in the show notes here of what happened to the screen. It was pretty bad. I don't even know how the heck she did that.
Was she?
Did she
take a BB shot or something? Because it looks like
that's what I thought
too.
Yeah, the iPhone saved her from a BB.
It dropped from her bed to the floor, and I'm thinking maybe there was some like a pebble or an earring or something that was on the floor that must have hit been, just in perfect hit there. So we had to get the screen replaced, and of course, it's hard. She really can't be without her phone, so I was reluctant to bring it in because sometimes Apple will say, "Oh, again, you need a day to replace it," or that. Usually they're good with screen placement. So, but one thing I didn't know that they're offering now is if I did put a screenshot in the show notes is the fact now you can make a reservation, which sometimes you can't. In the past you could, but in this case I was able to. And of course, it's only going to be $29 to replace the screen under Apple Care. But you also, if you don't want to wait, you got to pay a little extra though. But they will express replace the iPhone for you. I didn't even know they did that until I discovered this in the Apple Support app the other day when I did that. So, but that's $99. So I don't know if you want to spend another $60, $70 to just get a new phone, and it's going to probably be refurbished anyway.
But it'll have a new battery.
It will have a new battery. That's true, and it'll be already been tested. So, but we brought it in there. It took like an hour or two to get that taken care of. So, so then we got that taken care of. And then I discovered my AirPods Pro 2 stopped working. And it had been having some bugs and problems in the past. So basically what was happening is all of a sudden I would open up the AirPods and then the white light's flashing. That's telling you, okay, that means it's not connected. How did that happen? And it's showing to be connected on my phone. And then it would work for a while. And then I said, okay, let me remove it and then just try to fix it. So that was another problem. So once I did that, it would add, and then you'd flip it up and then it would show up and then it'd say, oh, it's got to connect again. And then I would go to try to remove it. It would say, "Oh yeah, we can't pair this anywhere. You have to remove this and then start over again." I was in a continuous loop. So obviously there's something wrong with it. So what happened? What I dealt with was I went to the store and of course they did all the diagnostics testing. They click and they hook it up to their iPad and so it reports back everything's fine. Well, it's not fine. It's not connecting. Well, we're going to have to send it out, and it's going to take 3 to 5 business days. Oh, well, no, I got to do my podcast. I have to have my AirPods. There's got to be something you can do. So let me go talk to a manager, and then finally she came back and says, okay, we'll just replace the case. So which makes sense. I mean, that's obviously what the problem is the case is not working anymore. So she replaced the case. I put the AirPods in. I'm using them right now, and it's working flawlessly. So that was a good experience. A little bit of pushing. I was being pleasant. I wasn't saying anything bad. So that's it. But interesting.
So you were not being
interesting.
Karen?
You know who I am. You know who I am. My name's Chuck Joyner, and I'm going to screw you people.
I had
how many products I own?
Yeah,
I had a strange experience going into the Apple Store a couple of weeks ago. I went in and the person who greeted me, I said, well, I'm here and I'm looking for so-and-so. And she goes, oh, I know who you are. And I'm like, what? She goes, I recognize your voice from Vision Profiles.
I got the same thing.
Yeah, that's strange.
Oh, that's cool.
Isn't that weird when that happens?
No, I think
to me in
that's
the Apple
cool.
when I was in the App Store once.
Yeah,
when I worked in commercial
I-
radio, when I worked in commercial radio, they said we don't need to look at your ID. Your voice is your ID.
Your voice is your ID. Yeah.
Mhm.
There you go.
What movie was that? Your voice is your password.
Your voice is your passport.
No, password. I think wasn't it?
I think that was actually an Apple event.
Wasn't? I thought it was like a movie.
No, it's a movie. Here, I know. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I'm looking it up.
Nobody remembers it.
Sneakers.
Sneakers.
Sneakers. Thank you. Yeah.
My voice is my passport.
Yes.
There you go.
I remember that. Long time.
Once again, Google shows how poor it is at
Yes.
as a search engine now, because it could not find sneakers from my voice is my password
Or not as passport.
or passport.
Yeah. Well, but it's better than us because we could.
Couldn't think of it.
People were probably screaming at their podcast.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that was a good experience.
Yeah, Jeff, just to correct you, I typed in your Vokey is your passport. And that was the first thing that came up. So Google managed to catch my misspelling.
Oh, okay. Maybe you have to misspell it for it to catch it. Otherwise, it doesn't work.
And for me, it changed to, did you mean your voice is your password? And showed me results for that instead, which is a completely different thing.
Yeah,
Jeff, I think Google's out to get you. That's all.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
Mm-hmm.
They're out to get Jeff.
So that was a good at least I got a good experience at the Apple Store, as we know most of the time we do. So I was happy. So a couple things I'd like to talk about is what do we kind of expect to see in 2025? One thing I'll mention is, Apple did break a 13-year hardware streak in 2024. For over a decade, they basically had brand new products that came out each year since 2010. 2023 was the Apple Vision Pro. And then in 2024, there was nothing. There was nothing new of a new product. So this broke that streak of hardware products. Nothing of a new category for the first time in 13 years. So found that to be pretty interesting. I would anticipate that we would probably see something new this year. I'd like to get your thoughts on what you think that the Apple's going to release next year, or this year, I should say. We're already this year, I think a lot of discussion has gone around the home products for this year, and some of those new things of the fact they're going to have some home hubs and different products. The new HomePad, they're calling it, maybe, or HomePod minis will come out. I'll start with you, Patrice. What do you think? What would you like to expect to see in 2025 and for Apple?
So you want to do the British Tech Network Mac Show yearly predictions already on this show? Sure, we can do that. It's hard to say. I think,
if you don't mind.
I think the home category is probably the obvious one. Like, there will be something, whether it's a new HomePod, a new Apple TV, maybe a complete, doorbell. I've heard rumors about recently. It was like, actually, that would make a lot of sense because Apple has all the parts for it. So they could totally do that, like a security camera or like a doorbell or something. Especially with the privacy nightmares we've had there in recent years. I think that would make sense. Yeah, something like that. I would actually, I'm not sure I would buy it because I probably couldn't install it here because, privacy in Europe is a whole different thing. But it would be interesting.
Yeah. What about Jeff? What do you think with this? I know you're big on the HomePod, and what would you think that would happen for this year?
Well, I think Patrice pretty much laid out what I'm expecting will happen already. So, Patrice, thank you for doing the hard work for me. But yeah, I'm expecting we'll see something new in the home category, and there's the talk about a HomePod with a display, and then there's talk about the HomeKit controller thing that's sort of like an iPad. And my guess is that it's actually the same device. So maybe we'll see that I guess I'm going to call it the HomePod show just to annoy people because we have the Echo show, so now I'm comparing it to that.
the show pod.
HomePad sounds like a very different product.
It does sound like a very different product, and it's often used with crate training.
Yes,
yeah, that too.
We will put Jeff in the crate to make sure he does not defecate the show
again.
How about you, Marty? What do you think is going to come out this year?
I think Apple
might be excited about.
I think Apple should create world peace, and they won't do it, or they'll do it in a limited release, and people will say, "See, the product's dead." Actually, I am really, really hoping, and this is my thinking about it, for not something attached to a pod, but sort of a wall-based iPad that can connect to your house, that I can, in the kitchen, watch a video of how to prepare food or watch a movie while I'm doing it, that it becomes a serviceable, a device that will serve me media if I want media, or I can go over and with my greasy fingers touch it and get other information around the house, make a phone call or a FaceTime call. And then what I see is maybe that product developing into larger and faster and better screened versions. So that product line then becomes something that advances with the technology each year and can then be interchangeable. So, okay, I got this one in the kitchen. They came up with this really nice one that I'd like to put into the bedroom or put into the living room, the front room where we all sit around. But it then becomes a substitute for an Apple TV, if you want to think, not an Apple TV device, but an Apple TV screen. So to me, that would be a way to grow the product line.
Yeah.
And I want the S lady or S person to be fixed. And I want HomeKit to stop being so screwy every time the internet goes out.
Yes.
Amen to that. Amen to that. How about you, Ben?
Okay, this is going to dig deep into my stolen house of crackpot theories, my condo of crackpot theories. Sorry, Kelly. I think Apple will release a M4 based Apple TV based on the Mac Mini chassis to essentially serve as both a gaming device and a home hub. This would allow you to not only plug in wired controllers, plug in additional storage, but you'll be able to hook up a a webcam via USB to use in your living room.
Okay. How about you, Chuck?
I like Marty's description of what he would like. The only thing I don't know that I want it on a wall. I think I want to be able to have it be mobile, like an iPad. And so then you're going to say, well, what's the difference between that and an iPad? Well, I don't know. Maybe it can be a better iPad, a bigger iPad and a better iPad. I feel like, this what'd you call it, Jeff, an Apple show or a HomePod show?
Yeah.
Whatever.
HomePod show.
I almost feel like that's a product that doesn't need to exist because we've got things that can serve those purposes. So I love the idea of Apple becoming a bit more of a center for my home automation. and an easier to use center for my home automation. Whether that will come to pass or not, I don't know. As far as predicting, man, I'm not smart enough to know what's coming. There were obviously
it's more so what.
Yeah, I mean there will obviously be iterations on the products we have, and I'm anxious to see some of those. But as far as brand new things, there being these little, I can't decide if they're rumors or just wishful thinking about Apple getting back in the Wi-Fi market, the Wi-Fi base station market, and that would be really interesting. I can give you probably half a dozen reasons why they shouldn't. I can give you half a dozen reasons why it would make perfect sense. So who knows? I'm content to wait and see, and have my credit card at the ready.
Yep, I think we all are. But yeah, that's basically what I wanted to see, what everybody thought, and it's like we're at the beginning of the year here. We're lots to look forward to, so it should be fun to see what Apple comes up with this year with new products and updating their products. One thing I'll mention is I think it's going to be kind of exciting is they're finally going to update the iPhone SE from what they're saying. I even heard a rumor they might be calling it the 16E. We'll see where that goes. But I think they need to have the SE desperately needs to be upgraded because there are people who don't want to spend a lot of money on an iPhone and to keep the price as low as it can be versus what a 16 costs. Maybe having the SEs as a good entry level iPhone for those folks who are budget challenged but not having to buy the older model. So they'll get a phone that's simple and not too terribly expensive. So we'll see where that goes. I wanted to talk a little bit about I keep forgetting about this and the Tips app that's on both the iPhone, the iPad, the Mac, even on Vision Pro, and how easy and it is easy for folks to find out about things when you go into the Tips app, and it brings up all the different things. And a lot of one of the things I did was I went in here to find out a little more about Apple Intelligence. So you can go into the Tips app and it actually has all the manuals in there, which is great. And so you can actually bring up the manuals. Mm-hmm. I always would put shortcuts in my home screen, and I completely forgot that the Tips app now has all the manuals that are on the Tips app. So you just go to it, and at the very bottom of the Tips, you see the user guides. So there's the Vision Pro, the iPhone, the iPad, the Apple Watch, HomePod, Apple TV at your fingertips. So if there's something you forget or not are able to get to and understand, I think it's great. Under the What's New section, that's where they show what's new in iOS 18 for the iPhone and Apple Intelligence. I wanted to remember how to do a cleaning up a photo. I was in the Apple store. They were happened to be doing the iPhone demo, and it's like, hey, I haven't done that yet. So going to removing the distractions and being able to clear that out. I know other Apple's been kind of late to the game on this, but they wanted to make sure it was right. So, but when you go tap the cleanup button, it isn't installed right away. So when you clean it, when you tap it, it's going to download that module of the Apple Intelligence. So it adds that to your photo editing. So it allows you to go in and actually do that cleanup of the photo. So that's one thing I didn't realize that was going to be happening. So, but I highly recommend folks going in there into the Tips app, whether it's on any Apple product, and you'll learn so many things that you didn't know about your products. And you guys, have you ever gone into this Tips app? Because a lot of us, because we think we know a lot of this stuff. Yeah. I think it's a great place to go, and I always forget to do that.
I've used it on my Mac, and one of the things that I like, I've used it because it has the manuals for all these different things in it. But all your registered devices, or all the devices attached to your Apple ID, the categories for all those devices, they show up right in the app as well. It's like if I'm trying to figure out how to do some rando thing on my iPhone, instead of trying to search for it on my in the Tips app on the iPhone, and then jump back and forth between the app and what I'm doing, I bring it up on my Mac, and now I've got the instructions on one screen while I'm doing it on the other device. but I don't use it that often. But when I do, boy, is it handy.
It really is. Like I said, the only reason I bring it up is just I forgot all about it, and I need to use it more when it's something I forget. As much as we try to remember everything we can't, that's why it's there to be able to take a look at all those manuals, especially. And the Mac version is even. You're right. It shows every product that you own. It scares me that I owned every one of these products. I think all of us do.
Here's my shame. It comes up whenever I get a new product over and over and over again, and it feels like nagware. And so I shut it off or ignore it or get it off of my screen and then never look at it as a potential resource. So what y'all been talking about makes me want to revisit that. But I wish they would not nag me so much, because when I have a new device, I'm still putting things on. I want to sit down and go through manuals. I've got to take a look at it again.
Yeah, I agree. Anybody else want to add anything on that? All right. One thing I want to mention, I did go through the AirPods Pro hearing test. Anybody else do that with the hearing test? And I actually was pleasantly surprised to see how easy it was for the most part. I mean, there's some tones that I'm listening, trying to listen really hard to hear it, and I tap it. But it is pretty straightforward. I included what my ears results are in the show notes here, and my ears seems to have little to no loss, which is good. And so I was obviously hearing those really, really low tones. I included links in the show notes for both both support articles of how to use this feature, but pretty amazing. And then what's even more amazing is now if you do have the hearing loss, it will set the AirPods so if someone's speaking, it'll amplify whichever ear has got the weaker of the two or both. So I recommend checking that out for those who have the AirPods Pro. I may even suggest it for a family member that they're having some hearing issues. Maybe we should get them AirPods Pro instead of hearing aids to see if that helps. They may not like them because not everybody likes the way how comfortable they feel in their ears, but I think it's worth checking out. And I think it's pretty amazing technology Apple that added to these AirPods Pro, and it was free. They just added the software update to it, so which is unusual for Apple instead of having to get new products that add it as a hardware feature as opposed to a software feature, right?
Yeah.
Want to add anything else to that?
Yeah, we spoke about it on a episode of Old Mac Gang, and I did it because my wife is always complaining I'm hard of hearing, and what I discovered, according to Apple, I wasn't hard of hearing. Now she doubts both me and Apple now.
Yeah, I did it too.
At least I'm in good company with a multi-billion-dollar company versus my wife. So this is something I played around with. I did get good results, but I did it a couple of times, and I found that the tones come at regular intervals. So if you're like, okay, there's one tone I heard, 1, 2, 1,000, 2,000, 3. So it's coming they come at a consistent interval.
Right.
So you can always hit the button 7 seconds or 8 seconds or whatever the interval is after the last tone that you heard, even if you don't hear the next tone because it's out of frequency, and get credit for it. And if you,
but that's not the point.
A little cheating there.
I know. But you don't get, if you hit it and the tone's not there, it doesn't take points away from you. Like it,
I did that.
Yes and no. It actually, as far as I know, part of the test is that it does retest sometimes. So because it might otherwise, you might have false positives or negatives where you maybe didn't hear it at the right point or thought you heard it, but it wasn't really there because of noise around you. So it does actually retest it. So it's possible
I
you hit
did
it.
some retesting. Yeah.
The cool thing about this is once you've done it, it also, if you have any hearing loss or whatever, it does to some extent tune also your AirPods, because it saves the profile that it calculated. It saves the profile so it can tune actually not just your AirPods, there's a couple other like I think Bluetooth, Apple, I think from Apple mostly devices, it can tune for you basically.
Yeah.
I love the fact that Marty figured out how to game the hearing test.
I cheated the hearing test. I cheated on the hearing test.
This is why your wife doesn't trust you or Apple.
I know.
Yes.
And now we also have a show title.
And that's how we maintain a 40-year marriage, by not trusting each other.
That is true.
Trust but verify.
With that, I want to go ahead and just wrap up the show for this week. Thank you all for being here. It was a great 2 weeks to have all of you here for the show, and I hope everybody enjoyed it, and looking forward to a great new year with new products and new things to talk about. But until then, let's go ahead and wrap up for this week. Please send your comments, questions, and suggestions to our email address, which is feedback@intouchwithios.com. You can follow us on Mastodon or Blue Sky at intouchwithios. Support the show by buying me a coffee at intouchwithios.com/coffee. We'd really appreciate it. You can become a patron of the show by going to patreon.com/intouchwithios. We have 2 tiers available to support the show. We'd really appreciate it. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe so you're notified when we are live streaming, which is usually on Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, on our YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/intouchwithios, where you can watch the current and past live streams and also listen to the past shows. Visit In Touch with iOS magazine on Flipboard, where many of the topics we discuss are flipped into that magazine. The link is in our show notes. You can subscribe to the show in your favorite podcatcher, including Pocket Casts, Overcast, Apple Podcasts, many others, but just better yet, just go to our website, intouchwithios.com, where all the links to all the ways to listen to us are on that website. I am Dave Ginsburg, and you can find me on Blue Sky and Mastodon at DaveG65. Patrice Brend'Amour, thanks again for being here this week. So glad you were here. Where can people find you?
Thank you. Thanks for moving around for me so that I could join. You can find me, I think, starting either this week or next week on the British Tech Network again for Mac Show and Big Show. So we're talking about non-Apple side of things and Apple side of things in 2 different shows. I don't know if someone will be on the show today or not. We haven't decided yet. So definitely next week. You can find out everything I'm doing on my website, thepatrice.com, all the social media links, the podcast, the projects, everything I'm doing. And I have a really cool show with Jeff together called Retro Rewatch, where we rewatch like retro TV shows, and we're rewatching Stargate SG-1. We posted right before New Year's. The Friday before, I think we posted the last episode for season 1, so the season finale of season 1, and so that's a really good show. I think we talked almost 2 hours about it because it was that good. Now we have the cliffhanger, so you have to wait for the next one. We have another show coming. That's a recap of season 1, and we'll see when we post that one. Maybe this week, maybe next week. I haven't decided yet. But I want to let you sit a little bit and wait for the resolution of the whole story. We'll see.
That's
Feels
only
like
fair
Stargate,
considering I had to wait.
Yes, I had you wait.
Chuck Joyner, thank you for being here. Appreciate you coming on today. Thanks for being here. Where can people find you?
MacVoices.com is where you can find everything. We're still playing a little bit of catch up for some live shows from over the holidays. And then you can look forward in a week or 2, actually about 2, to our CES coverage. And on all the socials, you can find me as @Chuck Joyner. Thanks, Dave. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year to you. And Jeff Gamet, thank you for being here. Where can people find you?
Well, like Patrice said, thank you for working around our schedules. So,
no problem.
Yeah, I'm glad I get to be here. All right, so social media is Jay Gamet everywhere, and most of my stuff is going up. Well, actually, now it's going up like everywhere because I have a system. But Mastodon, Instagram, and Blue Sky. Look there mostly. Then, let's see, for shows, I haven't had the ability for the past few weeks to join Chuck on Mac Voices Live. But Chuck, thank you for letting me be part of that. And hopefully my schedule will smooth out now. So that'll be a thing regularly again. Dave, thank you for letting me be here on In Touch with iOS. And let's see. Then there's the British Tech Network, the Big Show, and the Mac Show. And Patrice, I guarantee you, I'm not available today or tomorrow for either. So if we're starting the shows this week, hey, I'll see everyone next week. Then yeah, you never. Yeah. Semper Cumby. Then Brad Chaffin and I, we do the Context Machine, and of course, Patrice pointed out Retro Rewatch, and it's true. When we got to the end of season 1, when she watched the shows when they originally came out, she had to wait to get to see what happens with the cliffhanger. So Patrice told me that I had to wait a couple weeks before I watched the follow-up to the cliffhanger, just so I could get some of that experience. I actually really did wait.
Yeah. I think it was a week. It wasn't that long.
It felt like a really long time. But I did. I waited, and I'm very much looking forward to everyone getting to hear a recap and then talk about the next episode and
Jeff's predictions.
My predictions.
Jeff's predictions.
Right. That's right. My predictions. So anyhow, thank you, Dave, for letting me be here.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
And Marty Jencius, thank you for being here. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Mastodon at Jencius, Jencius at mastodon.social. Tuesday nights with Chuck at Mac Voices when we get back to Tuesday nights. It's always a pleasure to be with that group. Thursdays with Dave here on In Touch with iOS. And then I have a couple of projects I'm doing now. Vision Profiles with Eric Bolden. That's Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. on Monday nights. We're live on YouTube, and you can catch us in all the other places. And also doing Old Mac Gang, which you can find by searching on Google or whatever, and you'll find a link to be able to hear that podcast about seasoned Mac users, age-seasoned Mac users, and the kinds of things that they are looking for out of their Mac devices. We're going to talk about accessibility. We're going to talk about legacy. We're going to talk about medication apps, those kinds of things that folks are interested within our age group. And I've got another project I'm not ready to announce yet, but maybe after, well, I was going to say after the first of the year, but it's after the first of the year. You can find, once I get my website up to date, you can find all this stuff at thepodtalk.net.
Is it true the show is called What's Wrong with Jeff?
No, that would take
you
up
got
all
so
his
much
time.
content for that one.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's evergreen content.
We're looking for
infinite content.
Yeah, I'm looking for a higher interest than What's Wrong with Jeff.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Last but certainly not least, Ben Roethig, thank you so much for being here. Where can people find you?
Okay. You can find me at Ben Roethig on your social media choice. You can find my writings and ravings, and I promise to actually write some this year, at roethigtech.com. You can also find me on such podcasts as Mac Voices Live with this guy in the pink, Chuck Joyner. The British Tech Network with with the Jaffa himself, Jeff Gamet. and when my car is not broken down, In Touch with iOS with Dave Ginsburg.
Thanks so much, Ben. Thanks for being here. And thank you for listening. Happy New Year to everybody. It's going to be a great year. More shows coming soon. But until next time, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And we'll talk again soon.